What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Invest Iowa. Today, I have Sam Brant with me, and we're going to talk about being a unicorn agent, creative finance, and being a realtor, a real estate agent,
Yep, yep.
all at the same time. Thank you so much for coming, man.
Yeah, thanks, Sebastian. I appreciate it, my friend. Yeah, I just met you a couple weeks ago, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to come down here. I love the setup.
Thank you. Appreciate it. The thing that draws my attention the most is that you're doing creative finance
Yeah,
as a real estate agent. So I want to get into that. Let's
yeah,
let's talk about that. What's that like? How do you get started? How do you learn that? Because that's something usually that realtors or real estate agents are not taught.
for sure. So I guess probably got to take a step back how it started. I got into real estate investing right out of college. It was just not really out of like a need or like watching a guru, but just like um, almost out of just curiosity, I guess, how I got in real estate investing because like I had got into stock investing in Bitcoin and made money in it, but it was just like every single second of the day you're like curious, it goes up 5 grand, 10, down 10 the next day, and it's just like um, it's so unpredictable. So I got into real estate investing when I was 22, bought two like single family investment properties in Ames. Like I know you're a sports guy.
Yep.
They were both just like baseball single deals. Like they weren't anything special, but I was like, let's get into this, see what it's all about, and start learning. So going back to your question of like creative finance, so that's kind of just been like a 2-year journey of just like doing deals myself to where this last year I've finally been able to pick up different tools to use not just for myself and buying real estate, but also clients. So yeah, it's been good, especially in this higher interest rate environment, just getting creative and trying to use different contracts or sub-2 or all those different type of tools to make deals more profitable.
Did you think you were gonna be a real estate agent when you were growing up?
No way. No way. Not a chance.
Why not?
I grew up like a family farm, small family farm, west central Iowa. So the only thing I knew was like farming, like corn, soybeans, cattle. And so I went to school for agricultural business, just like out of like, oh, go get a 4-year degree. That's the thing everyone does. And it kind of just like my dad was always buying real estate with farm ground, and I kind of saw like his progression of like, hey, he bought this for $1,500 an acre back in the 80s, and now it's worth 20 grand an acre. So like I saw that like the increase in value over the years, but otherwise I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, I think one overlooked thing about real estate is that it's not necessarily that those assets are appreciating at the way that they do. It's just that the dollar is losing its value so
Yeah.
bad,
For sure.
especially in the crisis in 2020 crisis. It's not, houses are just not more expensive. The dollar is just not worth as much.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like coffee's going up in price, gas is going up in price, clothing, everything. It's just like, it's going to keep going up.
Yeah. How did you then talk to me about the process of getting your license and what were you thinking?
Oh boy. So I got my license. I was in sales since I was 18, selling new Chevys and Buicks. So that's kind of my sales background. And I got my license late 2021, and middle of December, everyone was doing it online. And it was just, I think, a month and a half of just straight classes. And it was terrible. Like, they don't teach you anything about how to get a clients, how to fill out even like a purchase agreement or seller's disclosure, and that's probably like the main thing, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like filling out a purchase agreement,
Yep. Yeah.
like the main document you should know. They didn't teach me anything about that. They just kind of taught me how not to get sued. And so then I took my classes, took my test there in 1st of January, December, somewhere right in there, 21, 22, and I ended up joining up with the guy that I bought my couple investment properties from, Colin Fett, and that was awesome because he'd already been through, been in Asia for 7 or 8 years, already seen a lot of deals, how to make a deal, how to find clients, and I would say that was probably the best thing to do when starting out is go find a good mentor.
Okay, that's exactly what I was gonna ask you. Is he to you a mentor? So like when you started that conversation with him, did he actually offer to bring you in the team and teach you everything that he had? Did you have to work for it, or did he had any hesitation on taking you on the team?
It was kind of funny how life works out sometimes. I just called him up one day in like middle of the fall. I was like, "Hey, Colin, I'm thinking about doing this. You got any spots open on your team?" And he's like, "Hey, Sam, funny enough, I just listed a job 2 weeks ago." He's like, "This is perfect timing." And so it's crazy. I don't know if he's a mentor in some respects, but more of like a friend,
Hmm.
other than less. And I think mentor, a lot of people, they're looking for mentors, but I think they got to be a friend first in order to be a mentor. Um, you got to vibe with them. You got to get along with them. But yeah, he's been great just working through deals and getting my feet off the ground through the process for sure.
And now, what is it so special about creative finance that um, helps you in your business?
Yeah, creative finance. Creative finance is so great because prices have went up so much in the last 2 years, 2, 3, 4 years since COVID, and creative finance is a way to use those interest rates sellers and buyers got 2 years ago in 21, and then make the numbers work better on a spreadsheet in real life when you're leveraging those 3, 4, or 5% interest rates.
Okay, so they don't have to go and get another loan because it'll be a deal killer.
Yeah, you're not using the bank. You don't have any appraisal costs. You don't have any loan origination fees with the bank or anything like that. You're pretty much taking over the payments if they do have existing mortgage from the seller, and then you can do a contract or whatever you can really dream up of in seller finance to get a deal done.
I also heard you talking about closing multifamily properties.
Hmm.
It's a completely different world than single family.
Oh yeah,
How did you get started on that?
multifamily. It was just kind of working with more and more clientele. It started out with single family investment properties, and then you go into duplexes. Now I'm in sixplexes, so I think it's just a natural kind of progression. And people start to learn and more and trust you throughout the process. Uh, say, multifamily sub two is a little different than single family sub two.
Yeah.
Because you're working with balloons now. Most loans are in a 5 to 7 to 10 year balloon when you're working with banks. So being able to work through those balloon payments with a buyer and seller is a little different than locking in a mortgage for the next 30 years. Because the deal on the south side you're doing, is that conventional financing or?
That is, yeah, that is conventional
Okay.
financing. I actually never done a sub two on a multifamily property,
Oh,
which
really?
I was just like all ears when you started talking about
Yeah.
multifamily sub two
Well,
and balloons.
yeah, it's crazy because most people, like sub two, they're like, don't tell the bank. Don't tell the bank before you're doing it. Like, get the insurance and all that kind of stuff set up after you close. And this bank was actually like completely open to contract and sub two. They're just like, they were more worried about the logistics of where the payment was going than the end buyer.
Yeah,
So
I don't think they care as long as they keep receiving the
yeah,
payments. Like, that ultimately that should be
yeah,
their goal, right?
yeah. But like due on sale clause is a thing that always comes up.
Has it?
Yeah, well, I get that question nailed all the time.
Well, you get the
dude.
question, but has it actually ever happened that
Oh,
you
no,
get
no, no.
you get the loan?
No, no. I've only done a handful of deals, but with creative finance. But the question comes up a lot. The bank's never called it due.
It always comes up.
Yeah.
But I guess it's never happened to me. I don't think I wanted it to happen to me, but it will be kind of cool for the experience.
Yeah, you'll be able to tell people like what happened. I think
But
it would be awesome.
but I only have the theoretical expectations of what could happen in case
Yeah.
that I will know how to deal with it, but I wouldn't necessarily say, "Hey, I've done it before."
Yeah.
So that kind of scares me a little bit.
I hear ya.
Yeah. For the and now for those balloons, how are you negotiating the terms on sub two for multifamily?
Okay, sub two for multifamily, it's pretty much just the same terms that are already set in place usually. the sellers I've worked with, they're not looking to mark up the interest rates at all on the existing mortgages. So
How
like,
come?
how come?
How come?
I think they've been getting pretty good prices for them.
Okay.
So they've been able to leverage that, and they're not getting too greedy, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
They know what they have.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's a big reason why they're not getting greedy on the interest rate, because they're getting a good price. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a give and a take. Like on this last deal, he had 3.75 for the next 5 years
Yeah.
on like 210,000.
Yeah.
So he bought it in 21. He was getting, what was it, 80 grand more for the property when he
Yeah.
bought it 2 years ago, which arguably probably didn't happen,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so when he's getting that much better of a price, he's just taking the terms that he already has. So
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
Is it easier to negotiate with sellers in the current market?
I'd say yeah. When you're doing creative financing and they have that existing debt already in place, most of them just want their initial 20% back.
Mm-hmm.
So then you give them 10, 15 to 20% back usually in a down payment, and then do some type of contract term for like a hybrid deal. So like the one we just did, he had like $60K still left in the deal after the down payment, and we just did we matched his terms on the underlying debt. So he had, what was it, 3.75% interest rate, and we matched the balloon in the amortization schedule. So
Okay. Wow. That's insane.
yeah. The buyer got a smoking hot deal.
Are these sellers ever like worry about the creative finance, or I'm just thinking, if someone owns multifamily, they should be aware of what creative finance is and should not be afraid to take terms, right?
Yeah, most of them are, because they're pretty much, they're a savvy investor already. They're compared to a single family investment, they're more open to that idea, and they can sometimes skip a little taxes too, or push that tax burden down the road. So that really helps. Single family, when you're explaining sub two or creative finance, is a little more difficult, I think, because they've just never heard of it before.
Are we talking about mom and pop's properties?
Yeah, mom and pop, they might be behind on their payments, or they're over leveraged on that property. That might be a little more difficult to explain. I think personally, what's your opinion on that?
No, I mean, I don't do a lot with multifamily,
Okay.
so I want to get started
Yeah.
into, but it's a process. I feel like you need to build up on the single family realm before you could get there.
For sure.
And there's not a lot of multifamily pre-foreclosures, not a lot of multifamily,
Not yet.
garnishments or anything
No.
like that. So
100%.
yeah. What else are you currently doing that it's worth talking about?
Currently doing in like seller finance multifamily space, you're saying?
You tell me. I mean, what are you working on that you're excited about?
Oh, what am I working that I'm excited? Something that I just implemented that I'm pretty excited about, just to find more deals for people, is I hired a cold caller in Mexico.
Oh, how's that going? I'm
Dude,
interested to
yeah,
hear that.
it's interesting. I started it 2 months ago, and he's calling for 8 hours a day. Like, the tough thing is to get like the lingo down here in Iowa, just like knowing where stuff is at and getting like sounding like he's done.
Like he's done deals.
Yeah, done deals here,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like
Yeah,
he doesn't have an accent or anything, so that's like a big thing.
He
like,
doesn't.
No,
That's good.
because like especially here in the Midwest,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
especially you're calling on an 80-year-old landlord. Here's someone from Taiwan. He's hanging up the phone right away.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, it's just like, oh, hey, bang, just automatic.
Yeah.
So that's been great. And
How long you been doing that for?
2 months.
2 months.
2
And
months.
well, I mean, I don't know if there's enough time for you to see the results, but
No.
I guess like, at what point do you think you're gonna sit down and go through the numbers and see if it's worth it or not?
I've already got leads from him already.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
I got
What leads? What are you generating?
So I got anywhere from a guy that wanted to sell his $80,000 house north of the capital to a guy that wants to buy a $500,000 to $1 million property in Ames.
Mm.
So it's just kind of a little all over the place. Yeah, I think it's definitely going to work. It's one of those things like you're saying, you're going to have some more time into it to see
You are pretty much multiplying yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
That's amazing, and it's an investment. You're taking the risk.
Yeah.
In the same way, you should take the reward. Yeah.
So, like cold calling is probably you can, delegate those tasks out.
Yeah.
Probably the highest dollar per hour for like me and you would be going on appointments, getting face to face in front of the seller, getting the contract locked down, and working the deals. So that's what I'm trying to delegate, kind of those lower dollar tasks off to other people.
Okay. For example, the social media.
Yeah, social media.
What else do you consider a low dollar task?
Low dollar tasks like transaction coordination is probably another one.
Yeah, big one.
Yeah,
big one.
Which, if you can have someone just get all the paperwork you need for a deal is huge. Anything from just like having someone else take your pictures, small things like that, using listing agents. Like I'm not to that point yet because I just don't have that amount of deal flow.
Right.
On my own personal wholesales or flips or that kind of stuff. But down the road, that would be definitely something I'd implement, just hiring another listing agent to do all my properties. That's what I pretty much right now. Stuff I don't like to do, like creating hashtags and editing videos. Like,
how old
I'll
are you?
Get that out. 24.
24. God damn.
You're 24, aren't you?
I'm 23.
Oh, you're a young guy.
A young guy. You're just 1 year older than me.
I was just giving you shit.
But that's amazing, dude. It's taking me very, very long to realize that I have to delegate this stuff, that it's not making me the most amount of money.
Yeah. And it's hard to let it go.
It's harder to let it go. But it seems like you're getting there. It seems like you got good progress going on.
I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it,
Well, I don't think you ever get there, but
That's true.
it's a process,
Yeah,
but at least the cold caller thing, that's impressive. I've also been into the VA realms, and I'm right now looking at my options.
Okay.
So
who are you looking at?
Just cold callers, just data entry.
Okay.
To build my spreadsheets, to do the calls and all of that. But the real estate, like the MLS world, is different from the non-traditional.
Yeah.
So there's different, like a little tweak to the things that you have to do, but in general, it's the same thing. You're just lead generating. Yeah.
Yeah. That's well. I think you got a little wholesaling business going on too, don't you?
Yeah.
So that's mostly sales and marketing, anyways. So
Yeah. Pretty much.
Having more salespeople with the cold callers is definitely adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah. Yeah. The way I see it is just solving problems. It's so easy to solve problems when you just get a really good system. And it's just, I know that wholesalers are given a lot of shit because they're not tied to so many regulations.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it really depends on the person. Like, if you're a piece of shit, you're going to be a piece of shit. And no matter what industry you're going to, if you're ethical, you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. The market will probably separate out those people.
Yeah.
Sooner or later. Like, being a contractor, like, is probably one of the easiest things to get into.
Yeah.
Because it's literally, you just apply for the application, I believe.
Yeah.
And pay the little, like, $150
That's it.
entry fee. So, like, you can really screw up someone's house real quick, being a contractor. So, like, seeing those things, like, the market's going to tell those people they're going to get bad reviews. They're maybe get even sued if they're really bad, and they're be out of business. Whereas an ethical contractor, you should have business out the wazoo. So same thing with, like, a wholesaler or a plumber or real estate agent. We're all trying to be of service to people, and the more ethical or service-based you are and trying to help, the world's going to reward you for that.
Yeah. That leads me to, what do you think are your short-term goals and long-term goals? Do you have those set?
That's a loaded question. That's a good one, though.
Yeah.
Probably short-term goals, you're saying, like, 3 to 5 years?
Ooh.
Or, like, this year?
Don't know. You could say whatever you want, honestly. But, like, what are you thinking your future is going to look like, in the short term and the long term?
For sure. Probably, like, this year I had a goal to make $200,000 gross commissions. or sales if that's like quick flips and stuff too. And I'm right on the path to make that. So that was one of my goals to start out the year. Run a marathon was another one of my goals this year.
Amazing.
Completed that.
Okay, so everything it's not work. Not everything is work.
No.
Okay, that's good.
No.
That's good.
Yeah. So that was a big goal this year I completed. Didn't go as planned, but we crossed the finish line.
How long did it take you?
5.5 hours.
5.5 hours.
I was shooting for like sub 4,
Yeah.
but it got up to like 92 degrees that day.
Oh,
It was hot.
yeah.
1st of May, you hadn't seen that heat yet.
Yeah, you're not used to it.
No.
It kills you.
Yeah, so doing that was a big goal. Long-term goals, probably keep investing, growing the portfolio. I know a lot of people have like a certain number of units they want to get to. I don't know if I'm that case, but just doing more deals with good people, I think, is a goal. And trying to be the best I can in every aspect of my life. That's just not business. That's just not personal. That's just not spiritual, but trying to be the best you can in all those, because what you do in one thing is what you'll do in everything.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
type of deal. So I know that probably sounds really cliche and like buzzwordy kind of.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a lot of people say that, but
It does, but I 100% agree with you.
mhm.
Yeah. Because it does sound a little cheesy,
Yeah.
but when you really sit down and think about the things that you're doing, the way you do one thing is the way that you do everything.
Exactly.
If you're trying to mess with someone in one way, you're probably going to want to mess up another person, another thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you do everything ethically, it's just a lot less headaches.
Yeah. And one thing I struggle with, I think a lot of real estate agents do, is because like you get like punched in the stomach, like metaphorically a lot.
Yeah.
You know, like you put in a lot of time and a lot of energy to this one client, and they end up buying something with someone else.
Yeah.
Or the deal falls through. You know, you spend 20, 30, 40 hours showing these people houses. You get one under contract. They end up buying a car 2 days before it closes, and now they can't buy anything.
Yeah.
And something I just realized is like what you put out there is what you'll receive. So maybe if like I give Sebastian a lot of time and effort and energy, but it never comes to anything, like someone else will come along and give you that back. You know, it's just kind of the energy and the way of the world.
That mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something I just learned this year I thought I'd share, but.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, being a realtor is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely the most difficult. One thing that I have learned is when you are a realtor, something goes wrong, it's your fault. It's
Yep.
not fault of the lender. It's not the escrow company's fault. It's
Mhm.
not the settlement's fault. Like nobody's fault. No buyer's fault. No seller's. Is the realtor's fault. And the amount of liability that a real estate agent has is just sometimes it's not even worth it. It's a really risky
Yeah, there is.
thing.
For sure. It's a lot of people's, you know, they worked 10, 20 years to, you know, that's their retirement fund.
Yeah.
For a lot of people. So, yeah, it's a very interesting position you get put in, and a lot of emotions go into it too.
Yeah.
Can't oversee that.
But it's probably the industry where you're gonna find the most amount of money or the most amount of knowledge to, the break the generational wealth problem
Yeah.
that you have in your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons I got into it, is not just the unlimited upside potential you have in real estate sales, but also all the other knowledge that comes along with it. Real estate investing knowledge, the connections, the networking, all that kind of stuff is things that you can't unforesee or not utilize, I think, if you're in the business.
Yeah. How do you want people to connect with you? Where do you specifically work? What are your areas?
Yeah, okay. So I'd say I live in Ames right now, so I feel like that's home base for me. But I'll drive about anywhere an hour outside of Ames. So like Nevada, Gilbert, Boone, Huxley, Slater, Des Moines. I've sold a couple houses back home in Carroll, just like friends and family.
Yeah.
Good clients I'll go back there for. So about an hour anywhere around Ames is mostly where I service and do deals in.
Gotcha. And what do you say is your specialty? What are you really good at?
I'd say investment properties,
Yeah.
Airbnbs, BRRRRs, kind of that areas where I've done deals myself. So I feel like I can give out maybe a little bit of knowledge to people if
Yeah.
they're looking to do the same thing.
Is who's trying to do the Airbnb?
Who's trying to do the Airbnb?
Yeah. Is it your first time investor or experienced investor?
I had this year more first time.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I was gonna say more first time investor. People that
They think they're just gonna make more money with it.
Yeah, exactly. And the girl that I helped, one of the clients I helped this year, she travels a lot as well.
Yeah.
So it was a nice way to make money on the weekends when she's not in Ames, but also live there during the week. So that was huge because like an Iowa State football game, I just had my booked out this weekend, $750 a night.
Wow.
Yeah, like
Yeah. Parking is crazy in Iowa State.
Oh,
when,
yeah.
When there's games.
and it's just not games. Like you got to think of all the graduations.
Yeah.
You know, I was just talking to someone the other day. Actually, my girlfriend, me and her were talking. Just like the amount of people, everyone always asks, like, who's coming to Ames? Why are they coming to Ames? Like, you think the people that do college visits, say 20, 30,000 kids do college visits every single year. They're probably visiting 3 schools. You know, so 30,000 kids visit 3 schools. That could be 60,000 people coming to Ames just on college visits.
Just for that.
Yeah, not alone everything else. All the pre-existing students, all the
Festivals.
festivals, athletic events.
Ceremonies.
Exactly.
Oh, the athletic events. Yeah. Big one.
Stevens Auditorium. So there's a lot of activity, more than you'd think, I think. Because everyone's like Airbnb, especially on the podcast form and like stuff you see on social media. They're thinking like,
Miami.
yeah, Miami,
San
vacation
Francisco. Yeah.
areas. Like,
Yep. Get a pool.
yeah, get a pool.
Yeah.
Like things like that. And
A fancy art. And
yeah. And it's you don't always need to have that. I feel like if you just like have a good furniture, good pictures, it's cleanly, has the necessities you need. It's definitely profitable.
Because I know for sure that Iowa definitely follows a downward trend as we get into the winter. And not all Airbnb guests, not all Airbnb hosts survive that.
Oh yeah.
They're not prepared for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely an interesting conversation because I don't have the numbers with me, but I know that the demand goes down a lot.
Yeah. Just I don't have them in front of me either, but just off of what I've seen over the last year, because I started my Airbnb arbitrage last September in Ames, so it's been about a year now to get the cycle down. And September, October, November, pretty decent. December is usually a pretty big month, honestly, just with vacation and basketball and that kind of stuff in Ames. And then February, March is slow. Like you'll get break-even months, or one month I lost like $100, but then you get the upside of making $2-3 grand in the middle of the summer. So it's definitely very seasonal. Keep your day job.
Keep your day job.
Keep your day job.
Don't rely on Airbnb.
Yeah, don't rely on Airbnb, but there is definitely some really good months to take advantage of.
What's the best way to contact you?
Best way to contact me is probably just give me a call, text. I have my phone number, 712-210-3025.
Sam, appreciate your time so much here. I think I learned a lot from you. And I didn't know you were such a well-rounded realtor
Thanks,
and
man.
investor and arbitrage. You're killing it, dude.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you having me down here. You're I love this setup. Like I feel like you're doing just as good things at a young age, and the market needs people like us. Like willing to do stuff creatively and go out there and kill it.
Yes, absolutely right. Man, thank you so much for coming, brother.
You bet.
If you made it this far in the video, subscribe, hit the like button, reach out to him if you have any questions in the Ames and 1 hour around area. And I'll see you guys on the next one.